Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately identities, as we have kind of considered them, have typically been, all right, the government issues you some sort of document that says who you are. And that's kind of how most of us think about identification. This is how I prove who I am. But the reality of doing that in a almost fully digital world is completely different. I think the days of IDs, and by the way, eID has a lot of different meanings. Sometimes it's an ID with a chip in it, but that chip has a lot of digital information. In other places, you're talking about a fully electronic document that is held in a digital wallet on your phone or something like that. And I think for businesses, they're going to have to find ways to verify all different types of identities along the way, because there's a lot of underserved portions of the population that won't necessarily have access to the same types of technologies. So there's going to be physical IDs for a long time. There's going to be eIDs that are physical IDs with digital chips in them, and then there's going to be fully electronic IDs. And really what businesses need is somebody that can help them verify all those different types so that they can get on with doing whatever it is their business actually is meant to do, not just verifying identities. I think one of the other things that is always a consideration is the barriers to entry for digital identities. You think about why it might take so long for widespread adoption. Part of that has to do with different generational tendencies. What are people comfortable with sharing? Some of it has to do with access to technology. Not everyone is going to have access to the same types of technology across an entire population. And then if you really think about it, even in the microcosm of, look at the US, you've got different states that are more progressive than others. You've got some that are trying to figure out what that regulation looks like. There's not a national framework for them to work within. And then you go to Europe and you see, okay, Spain's moving towards MyDNI and forcing people to use that wallet for verifications. The UK is talking about, all right, we're going to have a digital ID card, but it's only for veterans policies. That's going to change over time. Then across the rest of Europe, there's 100 different places where people are considering different ways to look at it. It's just so fragmented because there isn't a holistic standard that the entire world is sort of working under. So it just makes that problem of widespread adoption one that is going to have a very long tail, and you're just going to have to find partners or businesses that you can work with that will help you work all the way through it. Luckily, I think there is some good news, right? At the end of the day, these identities are still going to come from major institutions or from government entities. So at the end of the day, there will be standards around them. So as long as those standards sort of materialize quickly, it will be easy for people to have widespread coverage. It won't cover every edge case. There's always going to be somebody with a new identity coming out or a new digital wallet that happens. But at the end of the day, having widespread coverage for the vast majority of the population should be possible as long as those standards, materialize.